For those who hear, let them hear. For those who see, let them see. May the light within illumine the world, and know that God is one with thee. Melchizedek, Truth Principle, the Auric Vehicle and Astral Shell. Greetings. All is well. From within the heart of the eternal cosmos, we bring a benediction of love, and we accept the great love you so graciously share with your fellow men, and shall it ever be a divine benediction to your soul's consciousness. Unto the God of the universe, that which is God's, and unto the Caesar, that which through their desire is rightfully theirs. It never becomes necessary for one to speak in condemnation towards another who has violated the immutable law of nature, for he himself has pronounced his own judgment. It becomes not necessary in the least wise for man to become concerned with the undoing of another. For he who is of the household of Caesar cannot be turned from his path of destiny, as he so chooses to follow, until his own undoing proves to him that he follows after phantoms of the night, as it were. And unto he who has cast his lot with the divine source of all goodness, man can add to him no greater blessing than that which he invokes upon himself by his goodness and kindness. To know the riches of heaven is to be at peace with God, and to be at peace with God is to behold naught but goodness in all creation. Man is the noblest handiwork of God, and regardless of the path he may choose to follow, that path which leads to the lowest degree of degradation, behold in him the goodness of God, which he, in his choice, has refused to behold. Such is the law of righteousness. To those of us who are disembodied, there is no evil. For in your book of books it is written, God's eyes are too pure to behold iniquity. We are happy to recognize you and accept you as willing channels through which to pour forth the nectar of life. You will find that the yoke of righteousness never become burdensome, and the path never become rough nor dark. There are no chill valleys through which to pass, and no insurmountable heights. This you have already experienced in the path you have so chosen to follow. There is no penalty imposed upon man by God. God is just. Man's love for his fellow man is proof sufficient. Man's dislike for man, which man has learned to call hatred, is sufficient unto keeping of the day. But that is the only judgment man shall ever know. Love begats love. Hatred begats hatred. The magnet of love attracts the spiritual riches of the Father's kingdom. Hatred and contempt become a repelling force. When man shall come to understand that he rules his kingdom, as he so chooses to do, he shall no longer call life a problem. There is nothing problematic about life, other than man so creates it to be. Man should have long since accepted this as truth, had it not been for the fact that he has been erroneously taught. There is but one path. We prefer to call it the path of fair play. That is a rather commonplace term, but it is our preference. Set not in judgment of another. May I repeat, please. Set not in judgment of another. Let man live freely, to give freely, to accept freely, is but another link in the golden chain of eternity. Wait not for the coming of eternity after you have left your physical coil. Be ever mindful, dear hearts, that eternity has been from the beginning, for the beginning is eternal. There are certain individuals here upon your mundane spirit life who labored under the untruth that much of their misbehavior is due to the fact of mischievous, impish, disembodied entities, and that is untrue. It cannot be. It is contrary to the law of life. Come, let us reason together. As man so chooses to live the pattern of life allotted to him in each physical experience, so he builds about him that which he desires to call an astral shell. May I pause for a moment and give expression to this next thought. What happens when you lay your body upon its couch of rest? Where are you? What takes place? The Apostle Paul put it in this wise: there is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. May I add, man creates this astral body or shell, as it were. How? By every act, thought, word, and deed. Have you ever had the experience of watching a chick pick its way forth from the shell? Quite often, it becomes necessary to aid the tiny creature. Why? Because of an overabundance of calcium in the shell. It makes it rather difficult for the baby chick to gain its release. What does man do? Every unkind thought, expressed in every unkind word, the result of which becomes an unkind deed, builds, as it were, an overabundance, may I use that term please, of calcium in his astral body. Who releases man from this astral shell? No one but man himself. Now, what happens when you lay your body on this couch to rest? You move into this astral shell. It is the means of conveyance, as it were, which carries you to the astral plane of life. But where are you? You are in the spiritual body which the Apostle Paul referred to. That which the sensitive or psychic or mediumistic individual sees is not the spirit. It is but the spiritual body which takes on or bears the semblance of spirit. Now then, if it were possible for disembodied entities to torture, tempt, or torment man of earth, to cause man of earth to act unbecomingly, how could this be brought about if it were possible? But it is not. Would it not have to be some manner of attraction in the mental process of the individual who was enduring the torment, the tempting, as is accredited to the disobedient, disincarnate entity? Let us reason further, please. Why would those on our side of life be interested in choosing willing, agreeable, susceptible channels, such as you, dear people, to voice the message of love, life, and immortality, and become unmindful of mischievous, destructive entities here around about us? This is not conducive to common sense logic, is it? My next statement is not in the least wise in derogatory mention to the numerous teachers who have written books upon books upon books on that which man has learned to call obsession. May I ask you this question? When does spirit become spirit? Only after it left its flesh habiliment? Reason tells us no. Is that right? Spirit has been spirit from that which man has learned to call the beginning. Is that correct? Now then, may we reason a little further. What difference is there between you who listen to me and me, who tenants temporarily this physical body? You are spirit now, are you not? Is that not true? Student: yes. Do you become spirit to any greater or lesser degree after you are released from the physical body? Student: no, but you are oriented differently. Very well spoken, my good brother. Why then does not man become equally as oriented while in the flesh? Now we are becoming better acquainted with that which man has learned to call precepts of truth. I will grant you freely and wholeheartedly that there is an obsession, and it comes about in this wise. Man directs his attention towards obsession from those who are released from the mortal coil and becomes wholly unmindful of the true source or center of obsession, which comes from those who are yet in the flesh embodiment. That is your source or seat of obsession. Student: you mean a living person could obsess another living person? Without any question whatsoever, my friend. Student: so long as they are both functioning on that same level of consciousness. Again, wisdom expresses itself. But when in consciousness, man has arisen, as it were, above the sordid mundane attraction, he is no longer susceptible to the thought process of those in the flesh, who are bent, as it were, in the direction of causing discomfort. How does this discomfort come about? You are all acquainted in the Auric vehicle, are you not? When you come in contact with one who is radiating love, peace, harmony, what is your feeling? It is kindred, is it not? And quite often you say or express yourself in this wise: I cannot wait until I meet them again. How is this brought about? By the blending of the aura. When there is yet a fragment of distrust, when the old vehicle, as it were, is not thoroughly cleansed, there is a possibility, or may I say, a likelihood of attracting that which is projected through the aura of one who is of the baser nature. Is this understandable? Student: I am not a saint. I have made a lot of mistakes. Oh, let us reason with you, brother. Do I hear you say you have made a lot of mistakes? Student: we all have our weaknesses. How do we know? Yes, that is true. We grant you that. But your greater desire is for the greater spiritual manifestation, is it not? Student: I have made mistakes in the past. I don't want to make many more. Let us not speak of the past, and I do not make that utterance in the measure of chastising. Now, since you have mentioned it, let us reason about the past. Never look backward, my dear friends. Never. Regardless of what the experience may have been, never look backward. Never become Lot's wife. Never even have the slightest desire to look backward, never over the shoulder. Remember, not even a tiny peak, if I might use that expression. Onward is always upward. I cannot be otherwise. May I repeat that statement? Forward, onward is ever upward. Student, may I ask another question? Yes, indeed. Student, we have reason to believe that at times, in our sleep, we are attending a school, as it were, but we are unable to bring back a clear concept of our experiences. Now, what can we do to perfect this memory concept in our consciousness so that we are fully aware of it and are able to bring it back with us? What is the next step? May I endeavor to help you? You are justified in acknowledging the fact that you do attend a school in what you term the sleep state. Your desire is to remember what takes place during that period. Is that what I am to understand? Student, to bring back the memory, yes. Etch it in our objective brain and consciousness so that it can help us here and now. Yes, my dear friend and brother, yes. There is only one thing for you to do. First, in this wise, give thanks for the realization you have that you are attending school, as you call it, and you have well termed it. Then continue with a desire to remember. Let your desire be expressed in gentleness, however, not in a commanding or mandatory manner. Before entering the sleep state, let that desire be preeminent in your very last waking thoughts. Let it not be that I must remember, that I have to remember. Moreover, dear hearts, let it be in this wise: I shall remember. It is my desire to remember, that I may share these blessed experiences with those who are less fortunate than myself. If the desire is not answered immediately, do not become discouraged. Unto the present hour, your discouragements have been few. So proceed on the path which lies immediately before you. May I assure you that with your desire, earnestly and lovingly expressed, you shall bring back into conscious activity all of your experiences. At first, they shall evidence themselves as new ideas. Perhaps you shall wonder, how come this idea? Accept it as a memory picture of that which took place while you were in school of the infinite cosmos. I may leave this thought with you, please. Much of that which you have shared, beyond that which you have gleaned from books, has been the reflection of experiences you have had while dislodged from the mortal coil. It does not all happen in that which you call the sleep state. They are actual living experiences. You may sit in this chair or any other chair, and during the period of prayerful meditation, and may I use this expression, please, soar into the vastness of the eternal universe, and there meet kindred souls and return to your physical body with a complete picture of all that which has taken place. Student, may I ask another question? One of our group, several times during the last week, nearly left the body. Can you analyze that situation? What is the next step? Can you analyze that and tell her what to do? I am to understand from your question that during this period of silence, mental quiescence, or meditation, call it what you will, you felt as though you were leaving your physical body. Student: I felt very light. I felt I was about to float and everything appeared different. Splendid. Student: Everything seemed opaque. Nothing was solid. Beautiful. Student: Nothing appeared solid. I was a little frightened and I wondered whether it was advisable to proceed. My dear friend, would you become frightened if your beloved helpmate will place his hand in yours and say, "Come, dear, I have something to show you in the adjoining room"? You would have no fear, would you? Student: No. I will hurry to meet it. I will welcome it. Yes. Will you do something, please? Yes, certainly. From this very moment, dear one, annihilate from your thinking every last fragment of fear. Remember, student, fear of anything or anybody? Fear of anything, that is. No evil can come nigh your dwelling, and I am speaking of your physical body. I am speaking of the astral body you are building with the precious thoughts you send forth. Student: Why is it that the still small voice that used to instruct me so very audibly, why hasn't it been with me more frequently of late? I do not mean to speak to you in terms of reprimand. Please understand me. Student: I do. The very thought of fear has closed the avenue through which the still small angelic voice spoke, as you termed it. Student: Can I undo that which I did in my stupidity? Can I undo it? Look, let us not call it stupidity, my dear one. Let us rather say misunderstanding, shall we? Blessed are you. Can you undo it? Yes, you have already undone, by expressing your willingness to do. We are not here to ill advise you. We have been attracted to this home through what you on the mundane spirit of life call a strange manner. Yet, it is not strange. May I say, it is rather in and around the mulberry bush manner. We have visited with you quite often, not only here in this home, but in previous places abode. We have been with you, dear ones, for what you would term a long time. Now, back to your question. Please do not fear. When you have this experience, learn to say this: I am in perfect accord with the perfect idea of the perfect universe with the perfect universal soul. Remember, dear hearts, your soul is a reflection of the great oversoul of the universe, and in your quest for spiritual truth, spiritual growth, your soul has become enlarged, as it were, in fullness of the great oversoul of the universe. When you again have this experience, express a willingness to join the innumerable hosts. I assure you, nothing of evil shall befall you. Student: Thank you. How can all of us best serve the White Brotherhood Council? In what capacity are we befitted to serve? My dear ones, you have served in the past, and it is your desire to serve now, in that which you have learned to call the future, expressing love as you have expressed it. Be of very courage. May I say this in the wise, my dear ones? Be of a stout heart, and in your soul's consciousness, at this very moment, let these words fall from the lips of your inner voice. I let go and I let God. I surrender, fully surrender, in love, and wherever there has been a moment of discord, I grant peace in abundant measure. Good night, dear hearts. Bless you. Bless you.